What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Now it's time for the 2021 Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, which is said to be the last pay-per-view in the WWE Thunderdome. Oh, thank God. So sick of the damn Thunderdome. With 6 sensational matches booked, will the WWE deliver the good? Well, no, it's actually just getting stupider each time, and this moment was just ridiculous. Anyway, join us now as we recap all the matches and analyze the show for the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Let's start off with the pre-show as Mandy Rose took on Natalya. Rose is out to prove she's more than a pretty face and keeps things competitive, and at one point nearly finishing the match after hitting a missile dropkick. However, after escaping an armbar attempt, Rose falls into Natalya's sharpshooter and quickly taps out. Natalya wins the match. We then got on to the main show, and the show opens up with a Hell in a Cell match for the SmackDown Women's Championship as champion BIANCA Belair takes on Bayley. Bayley puts on a showcase of underhanded tactics targeting Belair's arm and shoulder, tying the EST's hair to a chair and tormenting her and even biting her. However, Belair shows her toughness and dishes out a lot of punishment to Bayley, with the role model injuring her knee. It's a seesaw battle as both women batter each other with kendo sticks and chairs. Both women are beat up, but Bianca shows more heart, hitting a senton to Bayley while she's laying on a ladder, followed by a KOD to the challenger that drives her into the ladder. Belair covers her and it's all over. She retains the SmackDown Women's Championship. Next up, Alexa Bliss cuts a promo while on her swing, telling the fans that Lily is still in timeout. She tells the WWE Universe BASZLER brought everything upon herself with her negativity and reminds the fans to expect the unexpected. Ooh. Next up, it's Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. As Seth Rollins ambushes Cesaro while the Swiss Superman is making his way down to the ring. It's a technical classic as both men counter each other's finishes, with Cesaro avoiding the curb stomp and Rollins countering the neutralizer. Now, things get personal though when Cesaro rips off Rollins' black glove, stuffing it in his mouth. Cesaro gets Rollins in the Cesaro swing for 15 swings, as well as locking in the sharpshooter until Rollins reaches the ropes. Cesaro looks like he's going for the sharpshooter again, but Rollins surprises him with a small package, getting the 1-2-3, and Rollins wins the match. Seth Rollins is beat up, but he's ecstatic to finally have a win over Cesaro, but this one isn't over yet. Next up, it's the match between Baszler and Alexa Bliss. Now, Shayna Baszler is looking to punish Alexa, but Bliss uses her Jedi mind tricks to befuddle and bewilder Baszler while also getting Nia Jax to take out Reginald. Yeah, WTF, what the hell. Bliss basically mesmerizes Baszler and her entourage, making for an easy match. Twisted Bliss on Baszler and Bliss gets the win. We then get Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, as Owens still injured from Commander Aziz's attack on him on SmackDown. Well, that's a question fans are asking as Owens goes into the match. KO takes the fight to Zayn, but Zayn stays in it even after a stunner nearly leads to Sami being counted out. The match ends after both men start trading punches and Zayn hits his haluva kick for the pinfall victory. We get the Raw Women's Championship match as champion Rhea Ripley takes on Charlotte Flair. Flair attacks Ripley before the bell and the two fight tooth and nail with a number of near falls, including one where the Nightmare lands on the riptide on Flair, but the Queen has the wherewithal to put her foot on the rope. Another close call comes when Flair locks in the figure 4, however Ripley grabs the ropes for the break and the two fall out of the ring, with Ripley grabbing the cover to the announce desk and earning a DQ. Charlotte Flair wins, but only by DQ, which means that Ripley retains the Raw Women's Championship. Ripley attacks Flair after the match and the two brawl until Ripley hits the riptide on the Queen. And finally we get the main event as it's the last chance Hell in a Cell match for the WWE Championship, as if Drew McIntyre loses he can never challenge Bobby Lashley again for the WWE Championship. But Drew McIntyre is a man on a mission as he pummels and punishes Lashley from pillar to post. The only problem is that Lashley is equally determined to retain his title. A referee bump spoils Drew's chance of getting the 1-2-3 on Lashley, but the challenger wisely asks the outside official to enter the ring and the match resumes. Drew's determination sees him escape the hurt lock and hit the Claymore kick on Bobby Lashley, going for the pin, but that is until MVP lives up to his name and pulls the referee out of the ring, breaking the count. Lashley takes his frustrations out on MVP, laying Lashley's manager out. The hard-hitting bout continues with McIntyre finally setting Lashley up for the Claymore, but MVP has recovered and he holds McIntyre's foot, preventing the Warrior from hitting the finisher and allowing Lashley to roll McIntyre up for the 1-2-3. Bobby Lashley retains the WWE Championship. MVP waves goodbye to McIntyre after the match as Drew can no longer challenge Lashley for the WWE Championship as Hell in a Cell closes out. But that was a quick recap. What about the good, the bad, and the downright ugly? As always, we start off with the good as the number one, a momentous match. Now we can't praise Bayley vs Bianca Belair's match enough, as Bayley showed why she's the best women's wrestler today and why Bianca is fast approaching her. Bayley has perfected her heel act, and it was evident tonight with the role model utilizing every devious tactic in the book and even challenging Abdullah the Butcher by taking a bite out of Belair. Both Belair and Bayley utilized Bianca's braid, with Bayley tying Belair's hair to the bottom rope and later a steel chair. But Bianca wasn't afraid to employ her braid, tying Bayley's wrist to it and pummeling her. I just love the different amount of ways that Bianca uses her hair as a weapon, but the action was heated and featured the brutality you'd expect in a Hell in a Cell match. Number 2, a phenomenal finish. As sometimes a match can be exciting up until the last few seconds, only for the finish to flop and take something away from the match. But that wasn't the case with the Bianca vs Bayley match, as Belair finished things off with an explosive ending, planting Bayley into the ladder via KOD. It was a hard-hitting finale that highlighted Belair's quest for revenge on Bayley and a reminder that she's a champion not to be trifled with. Number 3, forwarding feuds. Tonight's show featured plenty of action from start to finish, and just as good, the show forwarded feuds, particularly the war between CESARO and Rollins and the seemingly endless struggle between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. The WWE has shown some serious savvy with both programs by having neither wrestler in them dominate the series. While the WWE has a bad record of booking wrestlers into a feud only to have one wrestler win every match. And that wasn't the case tonight, as Seth Rollins scored a much needed win over Cesaro after dropping 2 matches to the Swiss Superman, while Sami Zayn got the Duke on Kevin Owens, giving Zayn plenty of ammunition to claim Owens' bad karma is catching up with him. Rather than running lopsided feuds that quickly burn out fans, the WWE is building interest in a rematch for both programs, something that is the goal of any wise booker. Number 4, it never gets old. How did they do it? Fans have to wonder how Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens can wrestle what seems to be their millionth match against each other, yet find another way to keep things fresh and exciting. There's little question that both wrestlers are 2 of the best workers in WWE, but that's no guarantee they can keep the fans entertained when you think of how many times they battled each other not only in WWE, but throughout their careers. Somehow Zayn and Owens know how to find a way to put a fresh spin on their matches, and tonight's bout was no exception. Number 5, a clever twist. And just as we praise the finish for Bianca vs Bayley, we have to call out the WWE for what can only be called a clever finish between Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. Having Ripley get what looked to be an intentional disqualification might have seemed like an anticlimactic ending, but it furthered the story of Ripley growing as a wrestler and learning from her past experiences against the veteran Flair. This was heard during the post-match exchange between Flair and Ripley when Flair said, "You're learning, bitch," and Ripley replied, "I only did what you would do to me, Queenie." And a momentous main event. Now, the Almighty Era faced its biggest challenge tonight as a determined Drew McIntyre seemingly had Lashley locked in the cell. However, Lashley's manager MVP lived up to his name, helping give Lashley the edge he needed by interfering not once but twice. That's not to say Drew dominated, not hardly, as both McIntyre and Lashley seemed to have the upper hand only for the other to recover. This was a fantastic fight that told the eternal story of a heel using underhanded tactics to outdo his babyface opponent. The WWE has created some serious storytelling possibilities as Drew deals with the reality he came up short and can no longer challenge Lashley, while the champion seems more dominant than ever. That was a good. What about the bad? As number 1, a poor pre-show booking. Now, regardless of whether you enjoyed tonight's match between Natalya and Mandy Rose, you have to ask what the WWE was doing booking her on a pre-show. If the purpose of the pre-show is to provide an exciting match, this was a little disappointing. If the purpose was to forward the Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke battle for respect angle, it should have been a tag team match, either a non-title match or better, a title match. A singles match between the 2 tag teams is the epitome of filler and better suited for Raw or SmackDown, not a pay-per-view. Number 2, better dead than red. Now, although it looks like there's no turning back, the WWE's use of red for the Hell in a Cell remains an eyesore and is only surpassed in its ghastliness by the red light that the WWE used to employ for the Fiend's matches. Thank God we didn't have that this year. I don't know, I just wish they brought the old cage back. Well, that was the good, the bad. What about the downright ugly? The moronic mind control. Now, if we had any doubts about just how bad Alexa Bliss's solo act has become, tonight's match between Bliss and BASZLER dispelled all doubts. Initially, the idea that Feud's former disciple turned into a monster all on her own had potential, but it stumbled from the start, only worsening when Bliss introduced her doll Lily and jumping the shark when Bliss tormented Shayna Baszler in a segment that had fans and critics instantly ranking it as one of the worst segments in Raw history. Am I talking about a program that had the infamous Katie Vick angle, Kane lighting Jim Ross on fire, and more repressed memories we'd rather not dig up? The idea of Bliss possessing hypnotic powers over her opponents might seem clever, but like the Fiend's imperviousness to pain, it makes it difficult to book as she can apparently win any match now. You know the train is flying off the track when one of the WWE superstars has powers like Pokemon's Hypno. Like jeez, why? Despite the Bliss BS, tonight's Hell in a Cell over-delivered with 2 great Hell in a Cell matches and several good matches in between. If the WWE wanted to motivate its fans for the return of live shows, it couldn't have done a better job. But there you have it guys, the good, the bad and the downright ugly for the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. What did you guys think of the pay-per-view? Let us know in the comments down below. I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.